Perfect. Okay, let's start off for everyone else who has not been graced with knowing you. Maybe you can introduce yourself, name, pronouns. We're just bantering about where you live versus where I live. You give us a little intro.
Yeah. So I'm Emmett Preciado. I live in LA right now. I am an actor. My pronouns are he, him, his. And yeah, I'm out here doing it right now. I am coming back from the strike. I am anxious to get back on set. I'm anxious to get back to work because the break was, it was kind of nice, but it after a while, too much of a break it's like, what do I do with my time? And also just, I tend to just be super bad at procrastinating too. So too much time is not good for me.
Totally. I love your line, I'm out here doing it. If you had to, an alien arrived on Earth and you had to explain to them what I'm out here doing it means, how would you define that?
I'd say like just like really, really grinding, really hustling right now, really just trying to bounce back. And, our industry is different now. So just trying to be on top of things and really being present and putting myself out there, not being afraid to put myself out there. Being more visible, especially because I took a long break to recover from bottom surgery. And so I have not been out really working as a working actor in a long time. So
Hmm.
I am doing the things.
Not to
And
dive into
also just,
hardball questions too quickly, but I mean, I feel like you're setting them up for me. So I can't resist when you say like
oh, good.
not being afraid to put yourself out there. What are those barriers for you? What are the things like sticking points that you keep coming back to?
I really struggle sometimes with being too judgmental and too harsh on myself. Because there's a lot of content that I have recorded and edited and never posted because I just get too afraid of, oh, is this even helpful? Is this good? Are people going to like it? Are people going to tear me down in the comment section? Are people going to judge me? And so then I sabotage myself before I even have a chance to see, before I even have a chance to help people. And that's something that I'm really trying to fight, is that little voice that, says like, hey, you're not good enough. This isn't going to do anything. This isn't going to go anywhere. You're not making a difference. I have to quiet that voice and be like, you know what? I know a lot of people feel that way and think that way and they still post. And
Yeah.
even if it helps just one person, that's enough. So like, I'm really trying to just put myself out there and not being afraid of what the masses think.
The masses, they're an unruly bunch and they can get to you.
Mm.
That's actually,
And that's a
I mean,
scary thing.
I feel like I don't have like any presence on I didn't even have Instagram actually before both and I'm like woefully unadept
Oh,
at
really?
technology. So I technically have a social media, but I'm like, don't really do anything on it. So I can't relate to what it's like from a personal perspective, but obviously from a brand perspective, like this is always something that I feel like I naively was like assuming this was more an issue for brands and that everyone like goes after. What would people go after you for? What are
Oh,
people in the comments doing? What could they possibly be doing?
I have had videos where people, there's so many haters and so many people just tearing me down for being trans, so many people tearing me down for representing my community. And it's kind of funny because that now I'm just like, wow, like there's so many of you who are just angry that I exist. What is the point? Why are you so upset? Why are you so like, you're projecting a lot about yourself because you don't even know me. You don't know me personally at all. So I'm learning to deal with it better, which is why I think I'm getting better at just putting stuff out there. But it gets to you after a while. They really say it's for every negative comment, it takes like 7 for you to feel. And I'm just throwing out I know it's a specific number, but like it really does. Those negative comments really get to you.
Yeah.
They like to look for every little imperfection or just something that's wrong with you and point that out. And I think that's just a way for them to really deflect from themselves. So I don't take it personally. Every now and then,
That's hard.
it
That's
really does.
hard.
Yeah.
It's honestly a mystery to me. We get so little transphobia. Like, and I don't really know how that's
Really?
possible. We get like intra-community nitpicking and fighting. We get like,
Yes,
I
I've
could
seen
like
that.
probably count on like one hand the number of times somebody's tried to be transphobic to us. And I like I don't know if we're just like flying under the radar or if people are like, oh, it's a brand, so I like won't get the rise out of them that I want. I don't know what it is, but people assume that like I live under constant transphobia. And I'm like, yeah, it happened like maybe once in like 2021. I don't know.
I think also though we have a really great community in the comment section that will
Yeah,
just, you know, get those comments out
punch
of
them
there
out, punch them
because
out.
exactly keeping the
Yeah.
community positive.
So yeah, on that note, I feel like we went dark there at the start. Let's reel it back. Let's be positive. One of the questions I always like to ask people this. Tell me a story, and it doesn't have to be about clothing at all or both and related, whatever comes to mind. Tell me a story about gender joy.
Gender joy. Oh, so I've been very nostalgic lately and thinking a lot about my past and the beginning of my transition. So back at the beginning of my transition, I was super, super skinny and I didn't know anything about building muscle. I didn't know I really didn't know what I was doing in the gym. And I had a friend take pictures of me and I was like, someday I'm going to fill out a t-shirt. I just want to fill out a t-shirt. And the other day I was going through and I was taking pictures and just the way that the light was shining down and the angles and the way that I like filled out this shirt, honestly, it really got to me because it was like, it took over 8 years, but I finally reached that goal. And I just feel like young baby trans me would be so proud. Because I finally feel really, truly at home in my body. And it has, it has changed the way that I walk into a room. It has changed the way that I approach cisgender men. I used to be incredibly timid and I used to be incredibly scared. And now when I walk into those spaces, I feel so much more confident and I feel safer. And I am experiencing a lot of gender euphoria, which is the complete opposite of what I had for most of my life. So I am super, super happy right now. Like I'm wearing y'all's tank top right now and I just feel super euphoric in my body. Like I can't make this up. Like this is what I wish I would have had the first 21 years of my life. But it's better late than never. I'm experiencing that now.
Yeah, that makes me, I have that too. Light is so critical, but they'll be like 6 in the morning.
Yes.
So I'm like waking up and I'm sleeping topless and I walk in front of the mirror and I'm like, oh, hey there, body. What's up with you?
Yes.
Such a good feeling. It's such a good feeling. I love it. I
Yes.
love it. So good. So speaking of which, I mentioned working out. I think anyone who like follows you on Instagram is like aware of your workout journey. It's also been like a really big part, even pre-transition. I feel like exercise has always been a way for me to access and deal with gender. And I know that there's also like unhealthy or toxic parts of, being overly obsessed with bodies and working out and all, there's all those narratives in the trans community as well. But I also think there's really positive parts and we don't necessarily like give room to talking about the positive parts as well. So I don't know, can you tell us a little bit about like fitness and how that has been a part of your gender journey more specifically?
Yeah. I recently posted about this, but I love going to the gym because when I'm building muscle, I feel a lot safer out in public around people. People are still very transphobic. So feeling safe walking on the street, feeling safe walking into a room full of cis men like that's something that's really important to me. So I do feel a lot safer now in my physicality, but also like the way that I used to carry myself pre-transition, it was very uncomfy. I purposely watched my female friends and how they would move and all of their mannerisms, and I would mimic them. I would copy them so that I would blend in as much as possible. So I just never felt like I never liked being perceived. I didn't like people watching me walk because, back when I first started transitioning, some guy at my work, he came up to me and was like, "Hey, I like the way that you walk." And like that to me really got under my skin because I was just like, okay, people are analyzing me. I can't even just be here without people watching me and analyzing me for any kind of femininity. And so for me, feeling comfortable in my body, in my physicality, that was super important. I'm not a dancer. I'm not very coordinated. So going to the gym and being able to lift weights in a proper way with proper form, that was something that I learned, that I taught myself. And so now when I walk into a gym and I pick up a set of weights, I'm not, worried, like, what do I look like when people are looking at me? Am I doing it right? Like I can do it with confidence now and be like, I know what I'm doing. And it makes me trust my body more. It makes me trust my physicality more. So and that has also affected just my confidence. And then it's really a domino effect. It's also then that leads to more gender euphoria. So yeah, it's been really good for me.
I was talking with a friend recently because like I was going through a particularly stressful few weeks, and I was talking to him about how like there's like this very simple checklist of things for me throughout a day, like, even when I'm really stressed. And there's like nothing profound here, but what's profound to me is how not profound it is. It's like in a given day, if I have like an hour in the morning before work where I can work on my creative writing, if I exercise, if I spend 10 minutes meditating, if I read before bed, my day will objectively be better. These are pretty simple things. And like I realize we can't all do them, but like it is interesting to me that like we can know that about ourselves. There can be these things that are right there that can become muscle memory, that just objectively define a good day versus a day when we feel like antsy or anxious or depressed or overwhelmed. And exercise is such a key one. Like I grew up in Boulder where like exercise is a religion. Like nobody doesn't exercise. It wasn't until I got to college that I realized there were people who didn't exercise. I remember like being mind blown because I like got up at the cafeteria one day and my friends were like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "I'm going to the gym." And they're like, "Why?" And I was like, "To work out." "What do you guys do for exercise?" And they're like, "We walk to class." And I was like, what? It's not like a part of your identity? You don't have like a whole gestalt around it? So anyways, it's like really ingrained in me for better or for worse. But yeah, I mean like
and
you
it's
just
such a
feel better.
mood elevator.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I always feel better after. So
Do
I
you
actually
do
miss like
like
when I have rest day.
powerlifting or like what's your vibe these days?
I don't know if I'm necessarily a power lifter. I'm more of just like I really just wanted to build muscle, but also have it be functional. Especially because my whole life I could do maybe one or two pull-ups, and that was just something that I was like, I'm gonna be able to do pull-ups. I'm gonna be able to do a bunch.
Yeah.
And now I can do it. I can do 10 in a row, and it's like this feels amazing. But I couldn't do that for the longest time, and so it was a goal to push myself. So like having functional strength, that's something that I really wanted, because I love. I mean, I don't know. I feel like a lot of trans guys who transition, like once they start getting that strength, they like to use it. So anytime anyone's like, "Hey, will you help me carry this?" I got you. Let me do this for you. I'll open that pickle jar for you. So
hand it on.
I love. Let me be useful.
Totally. I love it. Cool. One more question around kind of like body, I guess. And then I want to talk more just kind of like about career and day-to-day life and stuff like that. I imagine this is something, so I was actually talking about this with my wife. I feel like you were one of the few people that I have seen who's like out there on Instagram talking about bottom surgery. And I was just like curious about how it feels to you be kind of like taking the mantle of representation in that space. I imagine you get like inundated with questions. I imagine there's plenty of transphobia. You must clearly feel some kind of like an ethical pull to do this and to be a resource for the community. But like, I don't know, I guess it was something I was kind of talking about and had questions myself recently. And Clay was like, "Well, do you know anyone who's had it?" And I was like, but like, I wouldn't want to ask him because I'm sure he gets asked all the time. So I guess I'm just kind of curious, like, how does it feel to you to like have that be public?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. I do get a lot of questions, and I do feel a responsibility to share because I don't feel like enough people talk about it. But I get why. It's very personal, and it's a lot. But the thing is, like, I had so many different. My whole recovery process was so much, and there were so many things that I wished I would have known beforehand. And so I'm trying to get that out and share that with people so that they can be as prepared as possible, because this is a life-changing experience. And this is not top surgery recovery. This is hard. And I just want people to be prepared and to be safe and be careful and do the research, but also know that it can be so good. And, I have to be careful because, like, again, it is very intimate. And so there are certain things that I don't talk about or I don't share. And that's why I'm like, I hope other guys are talking about that, because I'm in a position where, but it can be a lot. But I do welcome the questions because I had a lot of those same questions and I wished I would have had answers.
Yeah.
So I'm just happy that I can help in any way that I can give back to the community. Oh no, that's it. I just, the haters are just, they come and but I feel like more than anything, people are just curious because, again, nobody talks about it. So I get a lot of people who aren't in the community necessarily, who are like, thank you for sharing, because people need to hear this.
Right.
So
in some ways, I think it's like a really good, how when you smell a lot of perfume and then you smell coffee beans to like reset the palate. I feel like in some ways, social media bottom surgery is like a good palate setter of reminding us. I think you can get into these like halls of mirrors in the content you experience where suddenly you think like the whole world is trans or non-binary, and like we've moved past, not we've moved past this issue, but like everything is clear and open and we have access to everything and like we know what this is or whatever. And it's like, honestly, bottom surgery reminds me of like, the memoirs I read of trans guys who were trying to get top surgery in like the 80s and like literally like couldn't get like a picture of it. Doctors like wouldn't release, like they just like people didn't know, right?
Yeah.
And then you realize like there's still realms like that. I mean, not that extreme, but like similarly, where it's like we all know what top surgery is like and the best top surgeons and like what it feels like and blah 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 blah. But like there's still this black hole of knowledge and understanding of community around bottom surgery, and it's
especially because
I don't want it
it's
to
not
stay
like
that way, but it's a good reminder.
We got work to do. But yeah, it's the same thing as like, it's not like top surgery where you can just be like posting yourself shirtless. I can't just be like,
True.
like exactly. And also I have to be mindful that not all of my followers want to just hear about my junk. Like, that's so I'm very careful.
But maybe not all of them.
I definitely talk more about it on my TikTok than I do on my Instagram. So if people have questions,
speaking of which,
I have a ton of videos.
Did Anthony tell you about the message we got about you on our Both And the other day? It was like,
no,
because I think there's like a short clip of you in like a recent ad or something, and like one of someone who follows Both And screenshotted it, sent it to us, and was like, "Thank God, the cute guy's back." Cute guy's back.
Oh my God, this just made my day.
So good. Oh, okay. So we were talking a little bit before I started recording. You've got like a play coming up. I want to talk a little bit just about like your day-to-day life as an actor, what you've got going on, what you're excited about, all of that.
Yeah, I am going to be performing at the end of the month. I don't know if I'm allowed to say yet, but it's with,
stay tuned.
I'll be performing live with a bunch of other artists, so it's going to be really, really cool, really, really fun. I'm just like really, really working to bounce back from the strike. So, working on my acting skills, but also I feel like live theater is so good for just really keeping you on your toes. I'm still working like a server job right now. I'm washing dishes. So I'm definitely
washing dishes, though. I have to say, like, whenever I actually they would try and put me front of house, I'm like, no, put me in the back.
Yes, they do that to me too, because they're like, oh, well, you know what? We'll make up for yesterday. We'll be nice to you and put you. And I'm like, no, I don't. No, put me in the back, please. I would love to just wash dishes and not have to really think. You give my brain a rest. So I love being back there. To me, it's like a puzzle. I love, it's like Tetris. I have fun with it. So I'm doing that right now until the big break comes. But I'm also, just really putting myself out there with modeling gigs and just being ready for when things start to break through, because I really do feel like we're going to be bouncing back from the strike soon. And I go to the gym every day if I can. That is my favorite thing to do. It really just makes me feel good. And I just like to, I'm also getting into meditation more. I'm really trying to quiet my mind. I really love guided meditations. I love just like thinking positive. And I get that you can't be toxic, the toxic positivity. I'm definitely realistic, but I've definitely seen a change with how things are going in my life or how I'm perceiving things when I'm thinking more positively. So I think I'm just building a foundation and getting my mind right and getting my body ready for when, boom, stuff starts to come through.
I mean, that's smart. It's more than smart. It's wise. I would say that's wise.
I hope so. I'm trying.
Well, speaking of wisdom, here are my last couple questions. If there was a piece of advice you could give to your younger self, what would it be?
Hurry up and wait. And I know it's going to be annoying to hear that because I still don't like hearing that now, but just wait. The more you try to force things, the less things are going to like work out for you. You have to just be flexible, be like water, let things fall into place. Don't force anything. Just wait. Just trust the process. All of that. Like, because the more I let go, the more things just fall into place. So it's going to be okay.
Love it. And then other than this thing that you have coming up at the end of the month, which we will definitely be keen to hear about, what's something else that you want to like promote to the community or point them to? A person, a band, a book you've read, an event, like a beach you saw recently that you're like, yo, everyone needs to go find this beach.
Oh, I actually have been rereading this amazing book that has kept me grounded. I don't know if anybody's read The Four Agreements, but this book is life-changing.
Yeah.
I have read it multiple times. Every time I read it, it is different. And this will change this will change your life. This has changed my life. I'm on a spiritual awakening journey right now, and this is a staple. So I highly recommend this.
You love that as much as you love the Romeo. Look at
I
you.
do.
Guns
Honestly,
out in the Four Agreements.
I have worn this. I have worn this so many times, but I cannot help it because the looks that people give whenever I'm wearing this, it's like people stare, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need this in every color now because this.
I do. I always troll at your videos where you're sort of making fun of yourself, but you're sort of being serious. You're like, it's LA, but like I am actually cold. So
it is actually like when it gets in the 50s, I'm like, it's freezing. And then I'm like, dude, you're from Wisconsin. What has happened to you?
I love it. I love it. Yeah. All right. Well, like any final thoughts, anything you wanted to share?
I feel like I rambled a lot. But
I mean, that's the goal here. This is not like a hard hitting interview. This is like a, hey, let's hang out and like pretend that this is what it means to run a business.
Yeah. No, but honestly, I just want to say like thank you for having me, and I'm really, really just impressed and just so proud to be a part of this because you have done seeing the growth in less than a year. You should be incredibly proud of yourself and all of the people that you're reaching, all the people that like you have impacted so many people in our community. I cannot wait to see where both and goes from here, dude. Like, seriously, you should be so proud. I'm honored to be able to work with you, really. And I mean that.